All right, guys, just as we thought, a lot of moving and shaking on the plains. Derek Mason is coming to town. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. We're talking Auburn football. Go ahead and like this video, comment, and subscribe. As always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. Brian Harsin, when he did his initial interview at Auburn, said that he was going to piece together the right staff, to bring in the right guys with the right type of mentality. So you've seen some movement as far as assistant coaches go here in the last week or so. There's some names that have been, called. He's got some guys coming from Boise State. We're going to get into that here in just a minute, or maybe even in another video. But most notably, it looks like he's starting to pull from the SEC market, something that's going to really help as far as recruiting and just understanding the physicality that it takes to compete on a high level, especially, let's just say in Derek Mason's case. Derek Mason, former head coach at Vanderbilt, also former defensive coordinator at Stanford. Now, he had a lot more success, obviously, at Stanford than he did at Vanderbilt. The success at Stanford was the reason why he got promoted in the first place. He got promoted while he was at Stanford to assistant head coach and, of course, defensive coordinator. Now, when he first got to Stanford, he coached defensive backs, which was his position in college. He played college at Northern Arizona. Also, started at Stanford, defensive back coach. The next year, associate head coach, co-defensive coordinator, defensive back coach. And then his last year, he served as defensive coordinator and then went on and took the job at Vanderbilt, which is arguably, not from an expectation standpoint, because no one expects you to win a national championship or even compete at a reasonable level to even win the SEC East. But they want you to sustain and at least be decent. I would suspect, 7-6, 8-5 on occasion, maybe make the Music City Bowl every now and then, would be kind of a reasonable expectation. It's pretty hard for a student to get into Vanderbilt, first of all, and then to get some of the higher caliber athletes on an ongoing basis has to be pretty difficult, especially with the type of defense that Derek Mason tries to run and the level of success that he wishes to obtain. It's just going to be hard for any coach to achieve that at Vanderbilt. But what an opportunity for a coach that's as intense, that loves the game, that loves the players, that presents himself super professionally to be able to come to Auburn, that has those resources and that has the potential to bring those types of guys to Auburn, just as long as you have the right leadership. And that's what Brian Harsin was probably licking his chops when he took on this job, because he was probably thinking, man, we can really make something special happen here at Auburn, because it could have already happened. Gus Malzahn had some athletes here. For whatever reason, I'm not going to badmouth Gus Malzahn. I actually like the guy. But for some reason, the result just wasn't there. Auburn has an opportunity with Derek Mason as the defensive coordinator. I don't think anyone in the Auburn fan base has any objection to this hire. Any objection. You're going to be looking at some sound defense. You're going to be looking at some players that's going to play with a high level of intensity that we were accustomed to at Auburn before. Kevin Steele, the bend but don't break activity, those days are over. Kevin Steele has some great moments as a defensive coordinator at Auburn. Definitely enjoyed seeing him coach with the intensity that he coached with. But Auburn is actually moving into a different direction. And you can tell that there had to be a paradigm shift in the coaching staff, because if you keep going with what what you had, you're going to continue that culture of complacency. You're going to continue that culture of, okay, we know we're going to be here. The players start to become complacent to where we know that this is my starting position. Whether I have, that's just the perception. That's not what I know. But I played the sport before. That's the perception that I get from the previous staffing and personnel on the football field at Auburn. All right, guys, congratulations to Derek Mason continuing his tenure in the SEC now as Auburn's defensive coordinator. Look forward to seeing recruiting-wise how this will be in effect. Like this video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. Very excited about this hire. Always great to be an Auburn Tiger. War Eagle.